Okay, I'll call this meeting to order at 2 o'clock. Can I get land acknowledgement, please, Natalie?
Associated Students Incorporated at Sacramento State would like to take a moment to give honor and respect to the ancestors and to the diverse indigenous people connected to this territory on which we meet. The original stewards on this land belong to Nishnawin, Patwin, Miwok, Native Americans. Keep them in your mind, carry them in your hearts, and we ask that you take a moment to consider your ancestors and your relationship to the land we are on. Thank you.
Thank you, and then as a reminder, also to myself, speak into the mic so our constituents are able to hear. Selma, can I get the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Selma. Do we have a moment of silence? Okay. Thank you. Moving on. Lisa, could I get roll call, please?
Thank you. Pacheco,
Present.
De La Garza Garcia,
Here.
Budani,
Here.
Estrella,
Here.
Andrade Dominguez,
Present.
Ayub Galan,
Here.
Mikado,
Here.
Mehat Diaz,
Here.
Henschel,
Here.
Campbell,
Here.
Beltran,
Here.
Bolis,
Here.
Berea,
Here.
Babar,
Here.
Iber,
Here.
Curry,
Here.
Gallardo,
Here.
Montalvo,
Here.
Glenmark,
Here.
Guerrero,
Here.
Reyes,
Here.
Dunning,
Here.
Dalton, Jones, Rocha.
Here.
Thank you. Now our next item, we're going to be moving forward to the approval of minutes from 4/9/14/2022 board meeting and 9/21/2022 working board meeting. Are there any objections to the 9/14/2022 and the 9/21/2022 meetings? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move forward.
The minutes are adopted.
The minutes are adopted. Thank you. The next thing that we're going to do is public comment. Members of the audience may address the board on any item within the jurisdiction of the board or on any agenda item. If you wish to address the board, please sign the speaker identification sheet. When you're called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name and major clearly for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and overall time is 15 minutes. Those wishing to speak on a non-agenda item will be called upon at the beginning of the meeting. Those wishing to speak for or against an agenda item will be called upon after the item has been officially introduced to the board. Every agenda item will be open for public comment before the board takes formal action on the item. If there are any public comments, can you please approach the podium, sign the speaker identification sheet, and okay. Seeing that there is none, we are going to be moving forward to consent calendar. Do I ask or do I just announce?
No, you just announced because they already did.
Okay. Okay, so some of the items that are going to be withdrawn are 2022, 23, 09, 26, Andrade Dominguez, Estrella Pacheco, Faculty Senate Committee appointments. That's going to be withdrawn. 2022, 23, 09, 27, Andrade Dominguez, Estrella Pacheco, Great Appeal Panel appointments. Those are going to be withdrawn. Sorry. And then these following items have been moved to consent. 2022, 23, 09, 22, Budani, Estrella Pacheco, Financial Committee appointments. 2022, 23, 09, 24, Estrella Pacheco, recommendation to President for University Committee appointments. 2022-230925, De La Garza Garcia, Estrella Pacheco, internal committee appointments. Are there any other items that would like to be moved to consent? Okay. If there are no objections, the consent calendar will be adopted. Consent calendar is adopted. Thank you. Okay. Next, we have a presentation. Presentation by our by our Legislative Affairs Coordinator, Sidra. The presentation is 2021-22 Higher Education Legislative Review. There you are. Hi, Sidra. Can you please sign the speaker identification sheet, and then once you're done, you may begin.
Hi, everyone. You might have to turn it on. Sorry.
Hello. Test.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Sidra Nawaz. I'm the Legislative Affairs Coordinator here at Sac State. And I'm just going to be presenting on the process that Lobby Corps takes to bring bills to our committee, and then how we bring it to you guys, the board, and how we make resolutions, and then ultimately advocate for the issues that we want to advocate for on behalf of Sac State students. Can you go back? Oh, thank you. Okay, so last year we took 8 stances at Lobby Corps. 7 were in support of bills, and 1 was in opposition of that bill right there, SB 886. The ones that have stars next to them are the ones that we brought to you, the board, and we made resolutions out of them. So first, I just want to go over the process a little bit of how a bill becomes a law in the state of California, just for anyone who's not familiar with it, and just to kind of make it clear what we are advocating for and to who. So first, any legislator can introduce a bill. If they're an assembly member, then it would go first onto the assembly floor. If they're a senator, then it would go into the Senate. After that, it would be directed towards any committees that it's relevant to. So if a bill has financial impact in the state of California, then it would go to Committee on Appropriations. If it's higher education issues only, then it would go to Committee of Higher Education, and so on. So these bills need to pass through their committees first before moving on to the Assembly floor or Senate floor. After that, they pass in their respective house, go to the other house. Once bills are passed through both houses, they're presented to the governor, and he can either do nothing, which is very rare, sign, or veto a bill. Next, I also want to go over a little bit about the process that we engage in here between Lobby Corps and the board. First, I will present in a neutral manner to my committee bills or issues that are related to higher education, and the committee will take a stance in either favor of that bill or in opposition of it. Afterwards, I will bring that bill to you, the board members. Usually this happens around spring when we have lots of issues that we want to work on and start advocating for. I'll keep an eye out for emails from me, because I will be reaching out to you during this time to get your opinion on what issues are important to you and what resolutions you would be interested in working on. That would be a collaborative effort between me and you, the board members. We would work on resolutions and find a way to advocate for it in a way that's beneficial to Sac State students. And then after that, you would pass the resolution either in favor of a bill or in opposition of a bill. That would become a piece of legislation that we could then use to advocate on behalf of all Sac State students And then we would be able to advocate to legislators or other people who would be able to help us push this issue. Okay, next I want to go over some of the bills that we took stances on last year. The first one is AB 1602, which was presented by Assemblymember McCarty. This one was the California Student Housing Revolving Loan Fund Act of 2022. This bill would have established the California Student Housing Fund. It would have been designated $5 billion to this fund so that campuses could take out loans for the purpose of building affordable housing. This housing would be available to students, staff, and faculty below market rate. So this was something that we supported because we believe that it would be very valuable to some of the neediest members of California, students, faculty, and staff included. So we did support this. This was also supported by CSSA, which is the California State Student Association. They represent all the CSUs. They supported this bill. We also worked on a resolution. It was authored by Lovepreet Kaur last year and myself. That's the legislation number if you're interested in looking into it. However, it was, as of August 11th, held in submission and committee, so we likely won't be seeing any more action on this bill. The next bill I want to go over is AB 1232, also presented by Assemblymember McCarty. This bill would waive English as second language course fees for students who have recently moved to the United States, whether they're immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, whatever the reason is, if they just moved. Most people who are immigrating into the United States, they face a lot of challenges like language barriers into receiving education or receiving jobs that match their skill level. 23% of immigrants actually face unemployment or take low-skill jobs because of their because they lack English proficiency, so they're unable to actually receive jobs that match their skill level. So we really wanted to support this bill because we felt that it would be important to help promote equity among students and ultimately in the workforce. We wrote a resolution on this as well, Lovepreet Kaur and myself. And as of August 31st, it was enrolled and presented to the governor. So enrolled just means that it passed both houses, and now it's on the governor's desk for him to sign or veto. The next bill I want to talk about is SB 641, presented by Senator Skinner, also known as the CalFresh for College Students Act. This bill, we did a lot of advocacy on last year in partnership with the university, as well as on our own for lobby court. This bill would improve CalFresh eligibility for college students and also make the process of applying for CalFresh much simpler because it is currently quite complicated. A lot of people who are eligible don't even know about it or are daunted by the process, so they don't apply. So it's not really reaching the amount of people that it could reach. We supported this bill specifically here at Sac State because 42% of our students experience food insecurity. So this is something that really applies to our campus specifically as well. We wanted to make sure that we are providing resources for all students. This was supported by CSSA, and we wrote a resolution on it. Joseph Sayas and Soltero are the authors. And as of August 30th, it was enrolled and presented to the governor. The next bill I want to talk about is AB 1655. This would establish Juneteenth as a California state holiday. It was announced by President Biden that it is a federal holiday, but only 8 states have made it into a state holiday. This would give state employees paid time off, as well as students. If they're in summer session, they would have that day off. This is in remembrance of the slaves in Texas who didn't hear about the Emancipation Proclamation and weren't freed until 2.5 years after it was announced. And so we supported this bill to shed light on this important piece of our history. It was also supported by CSSA. There was a resolution on it authored by Samantha Elizalde and Joseph Sayas, and it was enrolled and presented to the governor as of September 15th. The next bill we worked on was AB 1746, presented by Assemblymember Medina, also known as the Cal Grant Reform Act. It was also in a similar form the year before. And so this has been the work of advocacy for many years by many students across California, this incredibly important bill. It would have reformed financial aid processes so that they would become a lot more simpler. They would establish the Cal Grant 2, which would apply to community college students, and the Cal Grant 4, which would apply to students in four-year universities. And it would also remove barriers such as financial aid such as GPA, age out of high school, and also expand the availability of aid to students with dependents, for example. We supported this bill because we believe that there is a lot of help that we can do for students meeting the cost of education. We advocated for this the year before as well as last year. CSSA co-sponsored this bill, so it had a lot of support, and we wrote a resolution authored by Lapreet Kaur. However, the hearing was canceled for this bill in July after Governor Newsom announced that he would be including a version of this bill in his budget. So while this bill did not pass, we received a version of it in the budget this year. The next bill we're talking. The next bill is AB 1844. This was the last bill that we took a resolution on last year, and it's the Higher Education Student, Staff, and Faculty Protection Act. It would have required employees when they're applicants to higher education institutions to submit themselves to a background check and confirm if they were subject to a Title IX sexual harassment complaint or investigation, whether it's alleged or not. And anyone who refused to comply with this check would not be able to be hired at a higher education institution. We supported this in light of many events last year, and also because academia is considered one of the highest areas in workforce that have sexual assault and harassment issues. So we felt that this was a really important issue to address. It was supported by CSSA. We wrote a resolution on it. Samantha Elzalde authored that. However, this was held under submission as of May 19th. And finally, I just want to go over the California state budget a little so we can see the funding that we got. This is by no means a comprehensive review of everything, but it's just an overview. We did get a $365 million increase of ongoing funding to the CSU. We got $1.1 billion in one-time funding to the CSU, as well as two specific programs that are critical to CSUS's mission. First was a $1 million awarded to the ASI Children's Center, $835,000 to the Law Enforcement Candidate Scholars Program, and $300,000 to the Data Analysis Lab. It also established the Cal Grant Equity Framework, which was loosely based on 1746. So while the bill did not pass, we do see a little bit of some of those requests in this budget. And that is all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sidra. Does anybody have any questions for Sidra? Sandra?
No questions, just a thank you, Sidra, for leading Lobby Corps last year. You did an excellent job, and I love these presentations at the beginning of the next year where we find out what happens. So I know that it's still early on, and I think when Newsom has a deadline by which he has to either sign or veto, right? It's coming out in a week or two?
Yes, second week of October.
Yeah, so he has a deadline. So it'll be really interesting to see how many of these enrolled bills make it through. But thank you, and I'm assuming this is your committee in the audience or members of the committee. No? Well, sorry then. No, but I really do appreciate the work you do. This is a lot of advocacy and important work on higher education issues. So.
Thank you. Veronica?
I guess I was just wondering, like you said, you bring the bills up to the board. How do you decide who you want to write it for you?
So I meet with you guys personally in the spring semester. We have one-on-ones and I kind of ask you what issues you care about. Some board members really are focused on financial aid, others are, focused on housing. And so when I get an idea of what you're interested in, I'll bring a bill that relates to that issue to you, and hopefully we can come to an agreement on what kind of resolution you want to write and we want to work on. Yeah, that's basically it. It's really up to whoever wants to write it and also whoever has time, because it's really busy in spring. So it really comes down to who has time to work on it also.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments or concerns? No? Okay. Sidra, thank you. This is something that our constituents, who are present or who are watching, you guys can take part in this. You all as board members are able to serve on Lobby Corp or attend the meetings. Talk to Sidra. Sidra, where can the board find you if there's something that they want to address? Can you just, or a student, really, where can they find you?
My email, asi-ogpc@csusd.edu. If you're interested in the committee or if you want to join, we do need another board member on the committee, so that'd be great. And also, I'm in the OGA office a lot of the time, Monday through Thursday.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay. Now, we are going to be moving forward to new business. The first item that we have is 2022-23-09-23, Estrella Pacheco, University Committee appointments. Are there any discussions?
Motion first.
Is there a motion? I apologize. Alexa.
I motion. I move to approve 2022-23-09-23 Sierra Pacheco University Committee appointments.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any discussions? Alexa.
So as we can see in the document, I had to remove MMB from the Union Will Budget Finance Committee, but another student was available to attend that committee, and he will be appointed, Brian Casillas Vela. And then for the Will Advisory Group, Sophia Tran will also be removed because they were not able to make it to the times of the committee, but I'll be appointing Cristian Vela Casillas. They're both brothers, and they'll both be appointed to a couple committees. And many of the committees have been filled. Green and Gold Planning Committee is officially full, and we're still looking for students, especially grad students, 3 of them. So if you know of any, please reach out to me. I know that I've contacted a couple board members. If you could please respond back to me whether you are going to be able to support me or not. That would be greatly appreciated because we do have to get students appointed, and that falls under all of our responsibilities, to make sure that students are appointed to the committee. So please make sure that you're putting your part into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other discussions or questions? Okay. We're going to be moving to the vote. All in favor to approve 2022-23-09-23 Estrella Pacheco University Committee appointments, please raise your hand. Okay, you may lower your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, the motion has been passed unanimously. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, now the next item on new business is 2022-23-09-28 Pacheco Budani allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.1.1 Engage in Wellness Campaign. Can I get a motion? Selma?
I
I move to approve. I move to approve 2022-23-09-28 Pacheco Budani allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.1.1 engage in wellness campaign.
Second.
Okay, has been moved and seconded. Are there any discussions? Salma?
I'm sorry, I have a question. How do I amend it?
Okay. You said I move to amend.
Okay.
What part do you want to amend?
Just the how many smoothies? Yeah, it was just, I mean, it says up to 20, but, or up to 200, but we're moving it down to 150.
Okay, so since it's the 200 number that you want to change, you would say I move to amend by striking 200 and inserting 150.
Okay,
Perfect.
so I move to amend 200 by striking 200 and
Inserting?
and inserting 150.
Perfect.
And then I did get a second, right?
Yes.
Second.
There you go.
Can I get a second?
I
Oh, sorry.
second.
Awesome. Has been moved and seconded. Any discussions?
Now we are only voting on the amendment.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, the amendment has been moved and seconded. So back to the item of,
We're going to vote on the amendment.
oh, I'm sorry, we're going to move on the amendment. All right, Gina?
I would, if with the chair's approval, ask Salma why or what led to that number change on the amendment.
Salma?
Yeah, so I received an email today confirming the location and then how many that I had already told them how many that we could allocate, and they said that's more than enough. We were thinking 150. So then I moved it over.
Okay, are there any other questions or discussions? Sandra?
So would the amendment just, would it have to be stated that the 100 and the 100 listed below would each be amended also to 75, 75, correct?
Because you can't have 200 down there.
So do we have to pass another amendment?
No.
Oh, thank you.
Well, so the question that I'm getting is, do we have to change the amount from 425? You actually do not have to, because it says up to 425. So clearly you're going to spend less than that if you're moving down in the amount of smoothies. So you can leave the amount.
Okay, any other questions, discussions on this amendment, not the item? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move back to the
We're going to
item.
take a vote on the amendment.
I'm sorry, we're gonna take a vote on the amendment. All in favor of striking, of the amendment of striking 200 smoothies and making it to 150, please raise your hand.
Yep.
Okay, you may lower your hand. All opposed? Okay, the amendment has been approved, or passed.
Now we go back.
Okay, now we're gonna move, or no, I'm sorry, now we're gonna go back to the item, which is, again, the allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.1.1. Is there any discussion? Z?
So how will the students be getting this Jamba Juice smoothie?
Salma?
Yeah, so SHAC has a survey that they have to conduct in order for a grant that they received. And so they will be having students fill out this survey and show proof, and then they can get the Jamba Juice. And they'll be going through a process while talking to the counselors.
Okay, are there any other questions or discussion for the item? Okay, seeing none, I'm sorry, Chris?
I wanted to comment that this is a really great event that's going to provide a lot of opportunities to our students.
Awesome. Any other questions on this item? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of 2022-23-09-28 Pacheco Budani, allocation of strategic priority funding for 2.1.1, engage in wellness campaign, please raise your hand. Okay, lower your hand. All opposed? Okay, seeing none, the motion has been passed unanimously. Okay, now the next item, we are going to be moving forward to ASI College Director Reports. The way that we're going to be doing this is, just a minute. Okay, as a reminder, you do not have to read your special letter to the Hornets. If you absolutely have to, go ahead. But let's keep them brief. If there's something you want to highlight, please do that. The time that you have is 3 minutes to deliver your report, and then you have 1 minute of questions. If you end your report early, we would be able to kind of that remainder time that you have for your report will transfer over to the questions. So that makes sense.
It does.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, amazing.
Parliamentary procedure, we don't transfer time. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So the first ASI director report that we have is Admiral Adukwa, Director of Arts and Letters. You may begin.
Hi everyone. With that being said, this is my first board report, kind of excited. With that being said, I'm going to skip the special note. Y'all can read it on your own time if you would like. With that being said, I want to start by giving an update on the internal committee that I am in, which is the Student Marketing and Outreach. We met on September 19 and discussed what we can do with justice to students, with the possibilities of tabling with goodies and flyers for resources that we have. And updates for University Committee updates. The Alcohol and Advisory Committee will have their first meeting on October 6th. And then the Institutional Scholarship Committee meets in spring 2023. And then the Grade Appeal Committee will only meet if a student submits a Grade Appeal change form. And I had the honor of meeting with the Academic Affairs Coordinator, Emily, to discuss the steps of how that will take place. Some of the strategic priority updates, 2.1.1, I emailed the team regarding the lead and to figure out what to do next. 2.2.1, which is collabing with Mike Duff, the Student Affairs. I reached out, no, that's not it, never mind, sorry. That's to support campus partners, and I reached out to the team again and said what is asked of us, spoke with the Vice President of Finance in regards of this to be updated. And then 2.2.2, we met on September 26th at 4 p.m. and just talked about what we wanted to highlight and who to meet and who to email. 3.3.2, which is collabing with Student Affairs, Mike Dubb. I met with the producer, Michael Stephenson, and came up with a plan for the show for mid-October. In my office hours, I've just talked with students, came up with my joint counsel, and some other awesome stuff, so like sending emails. And for meeting events and presentations, as you can see, I got sworn in July of 28, which was our special board meeting and elected. That same day, we went to the Aquatic Center. Just August was kind of just getting prepared. Went to Nest West President's Nelson's Welcome Back Barbecue, had some yummy food. And I met with two of my department chairs, which was Mark Ludwig for communications, and met with Dr. Stark, which is the department chair of humanities and religious studies. September, I've been kind of just keeping up with my social media postings, so if you would like to follow, Saturday ASIAL. Again, just meeting with the department chairs. As you can see, September was kind of full, so it's been a lot of back-to-back happening. And if you scroll all the way back, I have some of my ASI presentations and some pictures from the events that I've done and with some of my constituencies. I'm super excited to be serving, and I hope I did the board report right. And yeah, this will be all on the website, so y'all can read and look soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have 1 minute for questions. Does anybody have any questions for Adderall, our Director of Arts and Letters? Jade.
Is there anything you'd like to highlight? What was your favorite thing during, before, since swearing in?
Adderall?
Yeah, I think my favorite was meeting with my associate dean. She was very informal, and I have the honor of meeting with her every week in support of getting my joint council started and everything, and I had the honor of meeting with the ANL Arts and Letters Ambassadors. So the joint council is also being picked up and moving, and I'm kind of excited for getting that going because it's been not activated since 2019, I believe. So yeah, if you want to be part of my joint council for Arts and Letters, come talk to me. I don't bite. And yeah, that's just it. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. All right. Now we are going to move forward to our next board report, which is by AZ, Director of Business.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to jump around on the board report here, but my office hours and contact information is up there, and then, like Adderall mentioned, this will be uploaded to the website for everyone to see. Just a couple of things. Very grateful for the interview process to become your ASI Director of Business and how that went. So thank you for everyone on the board and some of the advisors that served on that committee, and just going through that process was awesome. A big thing I want to highlight that happened in September was my kickoff event. So I was able to host that in conjunction with the College of Business. So ran it with side by side with BizFest, and was able to talk to a lot of business students and really hear their needs and talk to them about what ASI is. So was really grateful that that went well. Been going to some events like Hornet Day on the Lake, Block Party, just to name a few, and really thankful to the College of Business, specifically the Office of Student Engagement. They have been very, very welcoming to me as ASI Director of Business. I even have office hours on Tuesdays in Taco Hall, 10:30, so very thankful to Bonnie and Sunita that work in that office. They've been plugging me in. I even won second place in the bonding ping pong tournament, so that was pretty cool, just to meet all the staff in that office. And some other things that are going on are the strategic priorities that we're working on. So if you go to the board report, I'm signed up for a couple of them. Our VPF, Trevisha, and I, as well as other people on the strategic priority of supporting entrepreneurs. We're working on making the Student Entrepreneur Growth Grant come to life, just figuring out the application and what that'll look like. We've met with Lisa and Mark and trying to form out exactly what the legislation and things are going to look like when it comes to that. I have had one committee meeting for finance and budget. That was a super awesome opportunity just to learn about what that committee is going to look like for the rest of the year. Looking forward to the rest of the meetings. And when it comes to the other committees, haven't met with any of them yet, but looking forward to those. With my office hours, those have been very cool. I've been able to meet with students in the College of Business as well as in the government office. Had some interesting conversations with students about some of the problems that they're facing, and honestly just feeling extreme gratitude for being in the position to serve all you students. So thank you for having me, and I think that pretty much wraps it up. I'd like to take any questions now. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for our Director of Business? Sachi?
How was the experience at kickoff event?
The kickoff event was...
AZ? Sorry. AZ, go ahead.
Yeah, the kickoff event was good. They worked, or OSC worked in a very strategic fashion, I would say. So each student had a stamp card, so then they would have to check in with me as ASI Director of Business to get the free food. So very strategic on them, I'd have to say. But overall, I had a good experience. A bunch of students checked in with me. Some of them just wanted their signature. Some of them came and hung out with me for like 5 minutes. We're talking about school, ASI, and a bunch of other things, right? So got to put a cap on me. I talk too long when it comes to certain students, but I had an amazing time. Giving out succulents, that was part of the kickoff budget, so I had a bunch of succulents with my face on them. So students talk to me, give out the succulents. They're like, oh, it's cool, I've never seen this before. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't my idea, but it was a good idea for sure. So thank you, Trevisha, for coming up with the succulent idea and then passing the budget. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. All right, now our next board report is by Z, which is our Director of Education.
So hello y'all, everybody in the public and on the recording. Nice meeting you. So as you see, my name is Abdel Diaz, go by Z, easy to pronounce, easy to remember. My office hours are on the screen, right there. Wednesday 12 to 1:40, and then Thursdays 10:40 a.m. to 1 p.m. And before I get into it, I would like to apologize to the board and my constituents because I have been in the process of moving these past 2 months from like 3 different homes due to like either the smallest details or the biggest details. So it has been tough to be involved on campus enough, but I've been managed to pulling through. I have been managing to pull through. As you see in my meetings towards the end of September, I managed to meet with the College of Equity coordinator Karina and with my associate dean and my dean this past week, all in this past week. So we have started the ball to move. We discussed the possibility of creating a whole map of the shuttle routes or bus routes that happen here in SAC that could go to different district schools, because we have noticed that there a big dropout rates between the first year students and second year students between our child development 35F class has been increasing over time. So one of the issues that we want to investigate is figuring out why is it that they're dropping, whether it is a financial reason or it's not being able to find a district school. So we're definitely going to be investigating in regards to that. But one of my biggest highlights has for sure been, going to these events that I have been able to attend to during my free time, because it's just getting me away from like everything that's happening at home. So being able to socialize with the constituents as well as with the board has been a good distraction for sure. Yeah.
Amazing. Is there any questions for our Director of Education? Miguel.
Not a question, but I want to commend you for all the work that you're doing despite everything that you're going through. I think just looking at this report, it looks like you did a lot. So I don't need your apology. I think you're doing exactly the work that you're doing. Keep doing the good work, and I wish you luck on your situation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alexa?
I also would like to commend Z for being transparent, because I know personally that it has been hard for his family. And props to him for being transparent with his constituents and the board. That speaks a lot about him and him definitely trying. I know that I've seen Z already, he will add events as well as register. So props to him, because I know that I've been struggling with a couple board members to even just tables.
Gina?
I also have a commendation, Z, and it was really on what you were talking about working with your dean on. It's so very specific to serve your constituency and try to really figure out a problem and try to solve that. So I want to commend you on diving immediately into a problem solution situation with your dean and really, really serving your constituency in a very concrete manner. So congratulations on that, and good luck on that work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have 20 seconds. Is there any other questions? Okay. Thank you. We are going to be moving forward to our next board report. We have Tej, our Director of Engineering and Computer Science.
Hey guys, good afternoon. It's afternoon. My name is Tejkumar Panchal, but you can call me a Tej. You can see my office server and the contact information on the board report. You can find it online also. So the first thing I want to jump in my internal committee update. So we met on 19th September and we discussed some issue with the students, with the staff, and other problems that are related to the social justice and equity. And we try to address by organizing 2 events in this year. We still didn't decide when, but we will. For the university committee, I still haven't met with 2 of them. For the strategic priorities, we met, I think this Monday, to talk about 2.2.2, permanent link on the portal, about the basic need, and I think we will organize a meeting this week to talk about it. And we also have a little bit conversation about 3.3.4, connection with computers, how to do it and when to do it. For the events, I want to say one thing, like in 2019 when I almost attended all the events, but as a student, but now when I attended as a board member, it was different, and I really enjoyed it because I enjoyed it in 2019, and it's the same, I think you can say, like after 2 years, nothing is changed in every event. One thing I want to mention is like I had the ECS-GC traditional barbecue event, and in that I met with a lot of ECS students. Unfortunately, most of them, 90% of them know about ASI, so they didn't sign up. But they didn't know about some things such as Safe Ride or food pantry things and the pop-up pantry. So now they know. And I have met with my dean and associate dean, and I also figured out the timing with them when to meet. So yeah, that's it. If I did any mistakes, sorry.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for our Director of Engineering Computer Science, JD?
What was your favorite thing from the Juneteenth conference?
Board members. I spent like a very great and good time with the board members, and I got to know them like very well. So yeah.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. We're going to be moving forward to our Director of Health and Human Services, Chris.
Hi, hope everyone's doing well. Like I said, I hope everyone is doing well. I am the Director of Health and Human Services. My office hours are listed below. On Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and then contact information is also listed below. I didn't want to read my entire special note, but I wanted to read some of it. Since being elected to office in June 2002, I've gained much experience while working alongside the wonderful people that make ASI function. Additionally, I've had the opportunity to connect with students, faculty, and staff to learn about the issues they are experiencing. After identifying and engaging with campus stakeholders, I reflected and strategized ASI priorities with the ASI Board during the August board retreat. Upon drafting ASI strategic priorities, I collaborated with the ASI Board to refine these strategic priorities before approving them on 9/14 during the ASI formal board meeting. And then I wanted to talk about some of the different things I'm doing with internal committees and university committees. So on the ASI Green Team, the Green Team's off to a great start. We have a great turnout at our first meeting. We discussed some of the different projects that the Green Team has been working on. One of the big projects is combating the littering of confetti during graduation celebrations. And one of the things that we're trying to do this year, is to put up some signs to combat people from littering confetti. And then with the Anchor University Advisory Council, we have had 2 meetings, and that is also off to a great start. During our first meeting, we discussed strategic priorities for the scholastic year, and then assigned the priorities to each member. During the second meeting, we had a presentation from Robert Carter, the special assistant to the president, and she presented on the university strategic plan and how the Anchor University initiatives are embedded into this plan. So for the ASI strategic priority updates, they were approved on 9/14, and I've started to work in partnership on priorities 2.11, 2.13, and 2.14 with other board members. I'm currently in the process of implementing these strategies in collaboration with university partners. During my office hours, I've been planning events, specifically the fall kickoff event, and I've been responding to students, faculty, staff about their concerns and working with ASI on the strategic priorities. Some of the key events that I did was meeting with my associate dean, meeting with CFA representatives, meeting with the Anchor University Advisory Council, and presenting at the honors convocation.
Thank you. Is there any questions for our Director of Health and Human Services, Adderall?
Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about my fall kickoff event that's happening this Thursday, or tomorrow. It'll be at 10 o'clock in the Redwood Room. It'll be from 10 to 1 o'clock. If you guys can come, that'd be really great.
Awesome. Rob, do you have a question?
Sorry.
Rob?
Can you just tell us what it is?
So it's a kickoff event for the College of Health and Human Services, and it's going to be an expo for all the different clubs and minor programs that are offered within the college.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Okay, we are going to be moving forward to our next report, which is JD, our Director of Natural Sciences and Mathematics. And then as a reminder, speak into the mic and raise your hand so I can acknowledge you so you may speak, okay? JD, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So my office hours are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. During my office hours, I have had the opportunity to reply to emails, schedule upcoming ASI presentations, make social media posts for my positional account. I was also able to complete the designs I used for my bulletin board, which is located in Sequoia Hall. I put a lot of work into that, so I'm super proud of that, so make sure to go check it out. So for internal committees, we met last week, kind of just discussed our goals and events for the upcoming year, as well as introducing ourselves to the members and interest in the committee, and we meet again in October. The Alcohol Advisory Council, also, we have a meeting on Zoom, October 6th. And then I also got to meet with Emily, who is the Student Issue Coordinator and Grade Appeal Manager. We got to discuss my duties on this panel, and we plan to meet in the next month to go over the submitted grade appeals. There's two faculty members to one student, and we will discuss the appeals. Strategic priority updates, we got to meet September 6th for 1.3.1. We met with the board to discuss our plan of action, and we got to establish dates. And then 2.1.1, we're in the works of establishing a meeting so we can meet together and discuss future things. And then this is everything I've done all the way down, my meetings, events, and presentations. I got to present to Honors College September 9th, and then SIG-EP on September 19th. And then I'm super excited because my joint council went from 1 member to 14 in a week. So I'm super excited to get that kicked off. We're in the works of planning a meeting so we can discuss our kickoff event. And then if you scroll all the way down, there's pictures. That's Chris and I and Tej at the Honors College Convocation. Tej came to support, and then that's me with SIG-EP. And then if you scroll down, that's my board, which I'm super proud of, and I added a picture today, so yeah. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for our Director of Natural Science and Mathematics? Veronica?
What was your favorite thing that you did since you've been sworn in?
One of my favorite things was definitely the Juneteenth Symposium in LA. Had a lot of memories, a lot of laughs. My favorite thing during that was when Tej put the Uber to the wrong hotel, and we were trying to check into the wrong hotel. And then I also forgot to mention that I went to the kickoff event for the Director of Engineering and Computer Science. And then another thing I'm super excited for is working with Dr. Ma, who is the Associate Dean of the College of NSM. He is such a great guy, and he's just been so helpful through everything.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for JD? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, we're going to move forward to our next report, which is Veronica Bulos, Director of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies.
You should just keep passing it down.
All right, hello everyone. So you'll see my office hours Monday, Wednesday, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Feel free to stop by if you ever want to talk about anything. And then if you scroll down past the notes, going into my internal committees, so I have Student Academic Senate. We met on the 23rd. We mainly just discussed specifically AB 928. We also discussed maybe creating a strategic plan for the Student Academic Senate throughout the semester and presenting it to the Faculty Senate. For the University Committee updates, Academic Policies Committee, we met on the 16th.
And we did some introductions and talked a little bit about what the Academic Policies Committee is. And then we had an open forum where we talked about issues we want to discuss. Committee on Diversity and Equity, we haven't met for that one yet, but the meeting should be coming up pretty soon. Into the strategic priority updates, so these are the ones that I've picked specifically. 2.2.2 for the permanent link on the MySAC State portal. We met on the 26th, and we basically discussed the next steps for the priority, and then we planned arranging a meeting. I didn't add this in, but we did arrange a meeting, and it's going to happen this week, and it's in the works, so it's happening. Next is all the other ones we haven't met for them just yet, but 3.3.4, the connections with commuters. We discussed the food options, pricing, and then options for where we want to have the event, so the different parking structures that we would maybe hold them. Office hours, I reached out to the clubs for the joint council, was able to get 10 clubs, so that's really great. I met with students that were interested in committees. I met with around about 10 students and got them on committee, so that was great. And then I met with officers of the SSIS Joint Council. We were able to work on reviving the club with Soul. And then I also met with students that had a couple campus concerns and questions. Going into my meetings, events, and presentations, in June, it was pretty simple. We had our swear-in ceremony, Juneteenth symposium, and then the orientations. July, we had the interviews for the Director of Business Search Committee, so we were able to get AZ, which is great. And then we also...
30 seconds.
Okay. And then in August, I met with the Dean of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies and the Associate Dean as well. And then went to a couple campus events. September was when I did most of my meetings. I met with a bunch of students. I also met with the CSU EU and Selma to address their efforts to unionize on campus.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for our Director of SSIS, San?
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes.
Veronica.
Thank you. So we also had our first joint council meeting on the 16th, and we are planning our event for October 10th in the Redwood Room, and we will be sending out flyers for all of that right now, pretty soon. And then classroom presentations, I've done 3 so far for 2 political science classes and for the Arab Student Union. I also went to the Basic Needs Resource Fair, which is really great, and I met with all of the chairs of the SSIS College yesterday.
Incredible, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for our Director of SSIS? Natalie?
Not a question, but I'd just like to applaud Veronica for her work. She's really been great at appointing students and looking for students and like working with them. And I just really want to commend her for all her work.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, perfect. Good job, Veronica. Okay, do we have any other questions for Veronica? Gina?
Can you tell us what AB 928 is?
Okay, Veronica? Yeah, go ahead.
So we discussed it in Student Academic Senate. It's basically a bill where the Faculty Senate is discussing it right now. They're going to have to remove some units because they're trying to create a uniform curriculum for the CSUs and then the UCs and then the community colleges. So they're discussing which units to remove, and we're going to come up with a plan for them.
Okay, thank you so much. If there's any other questions or discussions, you may see Veronica after the board meeting and have that discussion. Thank you. We are going to be moving forward to our Director of Undeclared Students, Sachi.
Thank you. Well, this is my first ever board reports. I would like to address my office hours. It's on Wednesday 12 p.m. to 1:50 p.m. and Friday 12 to 10. And these are my contact information, email, and Instagram. But I would like to go over the last paragraph for my special note. Being a student is not an easy task, so what I want to remind you is to take time for yourself, spend time on what makes you happy, because a happy student is a productive student. You matter to us, you make us. Update on my internal committee, ASI Finance and Budget, that appointed the head first meeting of September 20, where we introduce ourselves to the committee and talk about the timeline, about the student employment grant throughout the year, and university committee updates. Luckily, I got the Union Valve Audit Committee, which had like once per semester, and I already done with that committee for the semester. The next meeting scheduled for the next one. And the Friends of Library met on September 9th, where we talk about promote membership and authors for the new books. Updates on strategic priority. The first priority was support campus partners on the Basic Needs Resource Fair 2.2.1. We had the meeting with Kaz, Anastasia, and Jessica, and I would like to thank BPF, Tuisha, to pushing me towards that the priority. It was like successful fair yesterday. Talking about 1.3.1, exploring the opportunity provide to meeting student entrepreneur growth grant. We are currently working on the legislation. We had the meeting yesterday. And 3.2.2, support the Office of Governmental Office. I joined for an hour to do tabling of the National Voter Registration Day, support the OG office to get registered the voters. And these are my officers, so we basically compiled information for the September board report, CARES to support the Basic Needs Resource Fair, and for the meeting, events and presentation, June 2022, like swearing ceremony and the board orientation with Sandra, Lisa and Aveli. I couldn't make it in July because of a medical emergency, and in August we had the great retreat and the board photos. In September, I met with the Dean of Undergraduate Studies, Dean Jordan, and we had the block party formal meeting and the meeting with CARES and the working board meeting as well. Committee meetings, the Union Val and Friends of Library and Finance and Budget Committee. I would like to highlight the campus event. I attended the India Day celebration and the President's Fall 2022 address, and I finished like 2 presentations so far, and for tabling, I did 2 tabling as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Any questions for our Director of Undeclared Students? Trevisha?
How was your experience in taking out and going through the whole basic needs like I did last year? I wanted to know.
Sachi?
It was my first ever taking lead of that event, and it was like really amazing, like unexpectedly. But it was so great, like helping to CARES to support the Basic Needs Resource Fair. We helped them ushering the community partners, and I would like to thank Veronica for being volunteer for this fair.
Thank you. Any other questions for Sachi? Okay, thank you. Moving forward to our final report, Urvashi Bar, Director of Graduate Studies.
Hello everyone, welcome back to campus again. I'm excited to start my journey in ASI and to represent the graduate student population. Throughout this academic term, I have secured my time and efforts to support our students' body. So please reach out to me with any needs, ideas or issues you have. I'm excited to be a resource in any way I can. So the updates on committees. I have been appointed to the 5 committees, and we had our first meeting on graduate studies policy committee, where we were discussing about a new policy change for graduate students. Moving on to strategic priorities updates, 2.2.1, support campus partners on the Basic Needs Resource Fair. So we had a meeting with CARES office representative Anastasia along with Sachi. We were discussing any support from ASI, and the event was basically yesterday, and I participated in setting up the event. I was there during the whole event and had the vendors came in any way possible. Next priority 3.1.1, support the anti-racism and inclusion campus action plan and consult with inclusive excellence. So I have attended one of the events from this category, which is the Green and Gold Speaker Series featuring Helen Vilma. She is an American disability rights advocate and the first deaf-blind graduate of Harvard Law School. Also, moving on to next priority 3.1, to promote board meetings. I am promoting board meetings on my Instagram before the board meetings. Moving on to events, committees, and meetings. So after I was sworn in the ASI board, I had meetings with Lisa and Sandra for the orientation. I attended special working board meeting, attended the board retreat, and I have attended the President Nelson's Welcome Back barbecue. I have also tabled during the SOL Tabling Club days with Lexa, and I have attended Falcon Blast. Then
30 seconds.
I had a meeting with with the Dean of Graduate Studies last week, and I also had my classroom presentation in one of my graduate courses. I have also attended one club event.
Is there any questions for Urvashi at all?
Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Sorry, Urvashi?
Okay, so I attended one university club event which was held on the Zoom, and it was on Lenny for internship. There were many speakers came from different companies who have attended basically my companies, and they were sharing the experience. I also attended the career fair yesterday. That would be all.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for our Director of Graduate Studies? Great, seeing none, that concludes our board reports. Board members, congratulations. Everybody in this room has given a board report now, so give yourself a round of applause for that. You're being transparent to your constituents and you're showing what you're doing, and that's just incredible. I mean, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing, and I'm sure your constituents are too. Okay, the next item that we have here is announcements, and like I mentioned at a working board meeting, historically, Salma is the one that closes it out. I go before her, but before me and before Salma. Does anybody have any announcements they would like to share? Sorry, does anybody have any announcements that they'd like to share? Oh, I thought you meant. And please speak into the mic slowly and clearly. That goes for me too, I apologize. Veronica.
So I mentioned it earlier, but I would like to announce the kickoff event for my joint council. Again, it will be on October 10th in the Redwood Room in the University Union on the first floor, and that's going to be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. There's going to be cake pops and coffee, and all the clubs will be tabling. We'll have registration for voter registration at the College Democrats table. And it will be fun, so I hope that you guys can come and support me.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Lexa?
I sent out an email last week regarding tabling. There's different dates. Many of them are for October 28th. If you have not signed up, the deadline will be this Friday at 5 p.m. Because I do need to know who's going to be tabling. If you have not tabled, I expect you to table. And now it's for an hour, so you have to be there. Not only are you participating, but you're also, getting to know your constituents and recruiting students, and getting to know the people that you're trying to support. We also have another opportunity to table on October 7th, which is next Friday. If you're interested, please come talk to me after the board meeting. I would like to see how many board members are able to table so that we're able to get that going. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Adderall?
Two new things. The bulletin board is fully updated, so to make constituency. Sorry if I messed that up. Have fun looking at it. And another thing too, I have the honor of saying that the Joint Council went through nuts and bolts and is on the way of being official. We have our president and we have our treasurer, and I'm looking for a vice president, secretary, and a marketing coordinator. So if you're interested, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. And more information to come for the planning meetings. But yeah, join. It'll be fun.
Thank you. Jervisha?
Okay, there is a bunch. I'm gonna go really slow. ASI scholarships are now open. Please encourage all of your constituents. I expect you to talk to your dean, make your dean send it out to the listserv. We are trying to get, since not everyone is in person, we should be able to get a lot of applications. If you have any questions, please email me. If any student has any questions, please email me. I'll be able to help you with any questions or concerns. As of right now, our priority funds, since we passed today, we have $7,200 left. Please come to me if you want to use the priority funds. We can write up a legislation together. For college directors, a few of you still haven't came and talked to me about the Joint Council funds. Please come to me and talk to me about the funds so we can either draft a budget together or you can send me a budget and I can approve it. Finally, there is a dog fund workshop tomorrow, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Cottonwood Suite 2 on the second floor, if I'm not wrong, University Union. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Z? No, AZ, I'm sorry. AZ.
This is speaking to any college or business club presidents. We're putting together a business club union, pretty similar to a joint council, but we'll be meeting every single month. We got some opt-in from business clubs like Finance Club, NISA, Women in Business, and etc. But reach out to me at my positional account, ASI BUS Director at csus.edu, so I can keep you in the loop. We're going to do monthly Zoom meetings, so all the business clubs are in the know of what's going on.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Natalie?
Just as a reminder for Student Academic Senate, since a lot of you have reached out, I do need one more student from business, 2 from education, 1 from NSM, 2 from grad, and 2 from undergrad. And then the process, guys, have them do the committee interest form first. They don't have to come to me and speak first before they do the committee interest form. That just drags the process on longer. So have them do the committee interest form. It's on the ASI website. And then have them reach out to me and we can talk after that. Because I know that's been the lag, that it was, I don't know, assumed that they have to talk to me first. They can do the committee interest form first.
Thank you. Lexa?
I am still looking for grad students. We are still looking for 4 grad students. So if you know of any grad students, please have them come talk to me. I know that there might be a committee that they're able to be on, and I also have a list of committees that I still need filled. Many of them are like they need 3 students, but we have 1 student, we need a couple more. I would definitely love to have all these committees filled, so please tell your constituents and any of our constituents that are interested in being committees, please fill out the interest form. You could also message any of us through our Instagram or email us or come by our office hours. Thank you.
Thank you. Veronica?
I have a question for Alexa. I was wondering, I know that we can see which ones still need to be filled, but I think it'd be helpful if there's any way you can send us like an email of like just the list of the ones that you're still like needing people for, and like maybe if there are ones that you need like grad students for, those specifically. Just that way when we're reaching out to students, we can kind of gauge where to send them, and based on their interests.
Okay, thank you. Any other announcements? Okay, I will say mine. Just kidding. Sorry, I didn't see you. Miguel, go ahead, please.
I got quite a bit, but I'll say it slowly and clearly. Shirley Weber, the California Secretary of State, will be at the Hick Auditorium today, 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. She'll be hosting a voting rights town hall conversation with the community. Our civic engagement coordinator, Lexi, will be tabling at the event starting at 4:30. She says that if any of the board members would like to come over after the said meeting or whenever the event is supposed to take place, feel free to do so. Speaking of that, city ambassadors will be meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. in the Capitol Room, which is on the 3rd floor of the Union. The committee still needs one more board member, so I would encourage anyone who is dedicated to bringing awareness to higher education issues and helping register students to vote to join the committee. Assemblymember Kevin McCarty will be giving a press conference at the Children's Center tomorrow at 10 a.m. for anyone who is interested in going. This comes after a $1 million grant was awarded for the Children's Center. And going back to voting, this is a reminder to register to vote if you have recently moved addresses. The county elections office will be mailing the ballots no later than October 10th. And the last day to register for vote in the general election for those of you who haven't or any students who haven't will be on October 24th. As far as CSSA news, thank you to all of you who RSVP'd me so that I can just keep track of you guys and see who is going to attend the plenary meeting that's coming up on October 8th and 9th. If you are planning to attend the Sunday meeting, please email me and let me know that you would like to attend the Sunday instead of the Saturday meeting. And for those of you who declined, I will follow up with you on future meetings in which you can plan ahead and attend to that. Just one more announcement. We need to ramp up our involvement in the ballot poll. We are 6th place with 77 registrations. So I guess if we could raise that number up, that would be fantastic. If you have any more questions or concerns, please feel free to follow up with me after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements before Selma and I say ours? Okay, my announcements, the very first one is a reminder. There is no electronics whatsoever other than Tammy and Lisa and Emily. You guys cannot have phones on the tables. You can't do that. It's per the Glory Rio Act. Just please don't have them on. Don't have them like visible to you. This is for the sake of transparency for our constituents. It's just a reminder, no electronics exception for Tammy and Lisa. You should have gotten your name tags. I expect you to wear them. That's like your little kind of like ID. If there's any problems or any concerns, any issues, please bring it up to my attention. We can talk about it. Tabling. They have been doing a great job at letting us table almost anywhere at this point, so I want to commend Lexa and Natalie for doing that. There was a couple of invitations, a couple announcements that we got via email from Lisa. We get opportunities to represent the board, to represent ASI at certain events, so if you're interested, make sure to be answering to those emails. Make sure to RSVP, check your emails often, the usual. And that's all I have, or maybe not, hold on a minute. Okay, so we have the Stonewall Foundation of Greater Sacramento event, which is called Growing Legacy. Growing Legacy will honor LGBTQ youth in Sacramento by announcing their 2022 scholarship winners. This event will be held next Thursday, October 6th, from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Antique Mason Freeway. Okay, that's located at 2114 P Street in Sacramento. Reach out to Joseph reach out to Joseph through pride@csus.edu if you're interested in volunteering for that event. I will count that as one of your university events. And that's all I have. Selma?
All right, guys, everyone. Sorry, I'm working on that to be more inclusive in my language. So hello, everyone. I'm very excited. It's week 5, which means midterms are coming up. Remember to take time to eat, to sleep, to drink water, and to perform academically, because remember, we are student leaders. And I expect every single one who holds a position on our board to perform academically, as well as becoming an amazing advocate for our constituents. There was an announcement I had that I completely forgot. So we did receive $2,000 from last year's board to hold an Anchor Initiative event or something with the community, and so that is something that we are working towards, and we're working alongside Peak Adventures to host 30 students here at Sacramento State. So I just wanted to give you guys sort of an update. We're shooting for November 3rd to host them at the Challenge Center. So I just wanted, for the sake of transparency, to announce it to you guys first. That will be happening, and that's in the works. Remember to take care of yourselves, and I really, really appreciate all of your advocacy and all of the amazing work, of course. So continue the great work.
Thank you. Okay, I guess we're gonna adjourn this meeting at 3:21 p.m.